Hello and welcome to the community here for Wilson Harwood, my artist career. Thank you all so much for signing up on the email list. I promise you this list will be an amazing opportunity to hear about new music first, get exclusive behind the scenes updates about things I'm doing, showing artwork, things like that, new shows possibly. So you will be the first to know, and you are in a special place. This little mini documentary is meant to introduce you to me and show you my studio, which I'm in right now. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how I built a soundproof studio in my backyard. I'm also going to show you some behind the scenes of how I made my last single, Nightingale. And I'm going to introduce you to some of the cool things you're going to get on this list. So let's jump in right now. So some of you may not realize that I am an artist, but I also produce other artists here in Nashville, Tennessee. So this is my home recording studio. It's where I go to the office every day. And I actually built this back in 2019 and 2020 during the pandemic. So here you can see some video footage of the studio coming up from a time lapse. This is pretty incredible. I actually documented the entire build so you can see how we built this thing. And I read a book on how to soundproof a studio and ended up just hiring a contractor and teaching them about soundproofing, and they taught me how to actually work alongside them and build this studio. So I actually have my blood, sweat, and tears literally in this studio that I have built. You can see some of the final pictures here of the studio and how it looks now, and it's constantly a work in progress, but this is where I make all of the music for my own art as well. So this latest single, Nightingale, and the entire album that I'm building around this, plus future songs that I'm going to be releasing, are all created here in the studio. And for the most part, I play all the parts and mix and master all the music, which is pretty crazy. But since I do this for my career, it makes a lot of sense and it keeps costs a little bit low. So it's something I really enjoy doing. As we grow this amazing community of fans like yourself, I hope to hire some other musicians and keep growing the productions as well. So let's take a quick dive into some of the behind the scenes of how I made my single Nightingale. And I'm going to actually show you the session files. So we're going to dive into the software I use called Logic Pro X, and it's going to show you exactly how I recorded some of the tracks. You'll hear the individual instruments, and I'll talk to you about kind of the cool ways I think about creating records. All right, let's dive into that right now. All right, how's everyone doing? So now you are in my computer, which is pretty cool. So this is what you're looking at here is actually how I record all my stuff. This is what Logic Pro X is, and this is actually the final mix track. So I'm just going to show you individually how I started this song. I almost always start with the acoustic guitar, so let's listen to that. And you can hear there's, over here on the left, you can see some of the reverbs, a little bit of compressors and things like that. I'll just open up. Everything is done in the computer these days for recording. And then I added a classical guitar in here, so you can hear that. If you look over here, I can show you. Let's see, let me turn off this. So these little guys right here show you whether it's in your left or like closer to the right headphone speaker. So if you're listening on headphones, you can really hear this, or if you're on speakers. Then I added the ukulele, which was super cool. Let's hear just that ukulele. It's one of my favorite instruments. There's two ukulele parts. I'm gonna loop this for you guys so you can hear this intro, which is cool. And then we have the slide guitar. Lots of reverb and effects on that. This electric guitar that doesn't even probably sound like an electric guitar, but it's really kind of cool. I ran it through some effects here. This is a little effects rack, and you can see I've got like delays and this thing called a crystallizer. It makes it sound kind of crystally, and a tremolator, which is making it wobble. So this is all creating this vibe. Love this piano. I played this piano here. And then these high strings are really a sample. So sometimes I'll use samples, which samples just mean something that was recorded and you can use royalty free in your own music. And then I actually played these strings, which These are what are known as VST instruments, meaning they're virtual instruments, but they were recorded in an amazing studio in London, and I can actually play the individual notes. So let's listen to the cello part, for example. And then there's a viola part that I added in, and they sound really good, right? They sound like an orchestra. So that's the intro, and that kind of gave me here's the whole thing, so you can hear it all together. And here's verse 1 coming up. So I'm going to turn on my vocals, which I believe I had them muted because I was sending this out as an instrumental version. Nightingale, you walk these solemn streets. You'll notice these yellow lines here. These are what I do to get the volume just right, so it sounds really good. And I do those yellow lines on pretty much every instrument, getting it to fit just right. You see there, shadows creep, feel the cold as they steal the heat. So then we're gonna get our kick coming in on this chorus. You can see the chorus here coming in. This is a virtual instrument. It just sounds like a little kick drum. I played that, and then we had some upright bass come in. Let's hear the vocal on the chorus now here, and get the background vocals so you can hear that. In the dark night of the absent moon, a light blossoms a hope-filled bloom, leading the way through the icy gloom. A lot of reverb. Rising above. See over here all the effects on it. I use a lot of effects on my vocals. Very haunting. So the acoustic guitar is still driving the driving the song here. Darkness and lifts the moon. Start adding in some slide guitar, and then down below. This is really cool. This is built into this program I'm using, and these are tubular bells. And I just love the sound of those in this production because it really adds to that orchestral sound and the darkness of the war and the song. And then finally we have the bass coming in here on chorus 2. Let's listen to just the bass. If you're on a phone, you probably can't hear this, so headphones are good, or bigger speakers. Through the icy gloom, rising above the distance. This is also, sorry, all these were muted because I was doing an instrumental version, but these are background vocals that I sang, so let's listen to those. These are kind of fun. So I sang these individual parts here, and then harmonized them, and then added them behind. You can see how it fits in, very subtle. I love this bridge. There's the individual lead. Now, listen to these background vocals. These are some of my favorite. Yes. And a lot of times I'll just improvise these harmonies. I know that seems ridiculous, but you know, after doing music for so many years, you just start to hear the parts, and you might try something that doesn't work, and then you're like, okay, well that didn't work. But for the most part, it's very fluid when I'm recording all this stuff. Here's like some more electric guitar stuff, slide guitar, ukulele, kind of in your left ear. So I'm always thinking about how can I create development throughout the song. It comes down here. The dark night of the absent moon. This was an interesting piece that you haven't heard yet. So this was a synthesizer that you wouldn't even know is there. Pretty funky, right? I like it. It just adds this pad in the background. Cymbal swells are a neat production trick here. So if we go in through the song and we look at the cymbal swell, this is a sample, meaning someone else recorded this and then they licensed it to me to use in my music or whoever's music I'm working on. And that'll just create a sense of transition. Logic also comes with timpanis, so I played these timpani drums. These are virtual, but they sound pretty good. So that's adding this orchestral sound again, remember, and these big booms for this chorus. So we can listen to the whole drum section, or what I call the drum bus. Not too much, but I'll fit it in with everything else. Pushing past where others fail, laid with a lamp, the nightingale, the dark night of the absent. So this is where it's back to. I love these little ukulele strums that are going from ear to ear, just adding some subtle bloom, leading the way through the icy gloom. Yeah. Rising above the distant boom, boom, boom. It comes back in full on, very epic. This piano part. So I took piano in college. I play simple piano parts, but I love piano as an instrument in arrangements for producing. And this piano in particular just has such a beautiful sound. I like to use virtual instruments mainly. You can't see it here, but I have a piano right in front of me, and these sound like real pianos, right? And then I spent some time playing these parts on the string bus, as I call them. We call buses a collection of instruments that are then sent to a stereo channel. Fairly simple chordal parts, but it creates that sort of longing, lonesome feeling this song has. Got the tubular bells. Boom, boom, boom. And that's the entire production of the song. I hope you guys have enjoyed this behind the scenes. This is really what I do for a living, and as I make my own art, I want to share more of it with you. I think a lot of you hopefully found this fascinating and interesting of how music is made these days. So I hope you have enjoyed this little mini documentary about who I am, getting to know more about my art, my creativity, my life, and I hope that as you continue on this email list and get to know more about me, you will understand more of this amazing creative life I'm living here in Nashville, and I want to bring you along for the ride. So thanks again so much for signing up and for continuing to support artists like myself. We value your support so much. All right. Thank you so much for watching.